Hello, readers. Today I'm going to do a bit of an AMA, and then I'm going to depart into something that's a little bit more academic. Um, but before I start, shout out to Miss Berckes' classroom at Central Elementary because they submitted the questions. Also, their teacher is super cool. And I'm going to stop for a second because I know they're going to watch this. Take a second, tell your teacher she's super cool. I'll wait. Did you do it? Don't make me come over there. So, the questions that they asked. The first one was, how do I read so many books? Well, the answer to that is I actually have a really long drive to work. And I listen to audiobooks, and I know what I like, and sometimes you read faster when you're super engaged. The things that are hard to read are the things that you don't really like. So I only read things that I enjoy, outside of the things that I have to read for school, or that I had to read for school. But yeah, so reading things that I like, and audiobooks for when I can't put my eyes in a book. They're actually kind of amazing. The second question is, how or when did you start making videos? So I started making videos in 2012 on a different channel, and it was because I was going to miss a presentation in one of my college classes because I had to work, and I didn't want to miss it, so I made a video. And I was like, hey, you know what? This is fun. And then I decided that I got really tired of giving the same book talk to my students like 5-6 times a day. So I figured if I started making videos about those books, then I could just say, here, watch the video. I'm going to tell you the exact same thing I would tell you in this video, so then I don't have to say it. And then my students would be like, oh, you're YouTube famous because you got like 5 views. And I'm like, yeah, but they're all your classmates. I have a question that says, have you read Notebook of Doom? No, I haven't. But the title sounds ominous, and I'm gonna have to go see if I can't find it now. The next question is, how do I find my books? If by that you mean where do I get them, mostly the library. But if by that you mean how do I pick them, well, I know that there are certain things that I like. I like rom-coms. I like adventure books. I like dystopian novels. I like science fiction and Afrofuturism. I like things that are like Harry Potter. So I talk to people, honestly. I talk to people who read similar things that I do, and I see pictures of books that look interesting because while they tell you not to judge a book by its cover, we judge books by their covers. And the last question you guys asked was, what is my favorite book of all time? Let me see if I can show you a picture. So my favorite book of all time is a book called When the Moon Was Ours by Anna Marie McLemore. I have it downloaded onto all of my devices. I have the audio and the physical and the ebook, so I can read it whenever I want. My favorite book for people your age is called what's it called? Orphan Island. It's called Orphan Island. It's a story about growing up, and it's really cool. So if you have the opportunity to check that out, if you like stories about growing up and going off into scary things and life changing, like you guys, some of you, it'll be happening soon, going off into 6th grade. So, give it a go. So I hope that adequately answered all of the questions that you guys had for me. Now we're going to move into the academic piece, wherein I answer Miss Berckes' question about what I think about when I write reviews. So the first two things, purpose and audience. You should think about these things every time that you sit down to write something. Purpose, why are you writing? Audience, who are you writing to? So if I am writing a review and my purpose is to convince a 13-year-old, because that's who I worked with, to read a book, then I have my audience, and my purpose is to tell them what the book is about. as opposed to maybe my audience is people who watch my videos or read my blog, and my purpose is to critically analyze the book. So I can tell you if it was, here are the things the author did that were good, and here are the things that the author did that were I didn't like quite so much. So purpose and audience. If your purpose is to convince other people to read the book, don't give an overview of the plot, but don't spoil it. Because if you're gonna tell them what happens, then why are they going to read it to begin with? It takes all the fun out of it. Unless they ask you to be spoiled, and then I understand. If your purpose and audience is your teacher, and your purpose is to let them know you read, then summarize to the best of your ability. So the other thing that I think about, so this is thing 3. The other thing that I think about when I write reviews is, what are the things that the author did when they were telling their story that I really enjoyed? How did they use characterization or details, or do I feel like the theme is one that really resonates with people or is important in some way? By the way, Ms. Berckes, I have a thing for theme. Text me, and I'll send that to you. And so I talk about how the author did those things. Was the characterization solid? Were the characters dynamic? Did they learn something? Was the setting clearly visible in my mind? Those kinds of things. And so what this kind of review does is it critiques the writing. It shows analysis, which is that higher level thinking. You guys can do that. I am confident that you can do that. If you're trying to convince somebody else to read it, one of the things that I like to do, or that I like to do with my students, was to leave them with a question. So, what's gonna happen to this character if this thing happens? You've got to read to find out. Whichever direction you decide to go, have fun with it. Enjoy the process of writing the review. Enjoy the reading of the books that you're going to review. I hope this helps. And as I always say, I am the supplier wishing you happy reading. Don't forget to be awesome.